welcome to my little corner. In this video, I'm gonna tell you all my Netflix recommendations. So I have Netflix for a whole year now, or almost a whole year, and I watch a lot of things. And the thing about Netflix is that you're like, what do I watch? And then you go on Netflix, and then you're trying to look for something that's interesting, and you never seem to find anything because most of the movies on Netflix seem quite old, and then you're just like, you can't find anything. But there are a lot of good movies in there, and you just have to try them. So I have a huge list. You can't really see it, but I have this huge list like this, and it goes on the back. And so I have TV shows, I have stand-up comedies, and I have movies. So because it's a really big list, let's just get started. The first TV show I have for you is Supernatural. I already told you this so many times. Two brothers fighting against demons and angels. It's epic, so you gotta watch it. Then I have Friends. Friends needs no introductions. Everyone knows Friends is a great series. It's a relaxed show, and it's funny, and it's about this group of friends and all their adventures. Then I have How I Met Your Mother. It's kind of like Friends, where it's a group of friends and we just go with them with all their adventures. So it's another relaxed short show, and you're gonna go through it really fast. Then I have 13 Reasons Why. This is a new show from Netflix, and it's about this girl who committed suicide, and she recorded 13 tapes before she died about the 13 reasons why she killed herself and all the people that are involved. There's only one season. I heard they're gonna make a season 2, and that show is so addicting right from episode 1. So make sure to check it out. Then I have a series of unfortunate events. This is also a new Netflix show. There's also gonna be season 2. But for the first season, this is a very odd show where nothing good ever happens, and they tell you right from the beginning, and it's literally a series of unfortunate events, and it is so odd, and I guess that's what kind of gets you hooked to it. I can't really explain why the show is so good. It's just weirdly good. Prison Break is about these two brothers. One of them goes to jail, but he's innocent, and then his brother, which is kind of like a genius, goes to jail himself so that he can get his brother out so they can escape prison. And it's amazing the way they do it. And so yeah, I also recommend that one. And finally, for the TV shows, I have Brain Games. Now, Brain Games is not the typical TV show like the other ones I told you about. Brain Games is like a documentary style of TV show. I can't really explain it. Basically, they talk about like your brain and all the things that you do with your brain. Like, you know, imagination, you got sleep, you got reflexes, you got like all kinds of stuff. Every episode is about one thing, and then the interesting part is that they put a lot of games into the episodes so that you can play along, and it's quite fun and interesting, and you should totally check it out. That's all for the TV shows, and now we're gonna enter the stand-up comedy. Now, after getting Netflix, I found my passion for stand-up comedy because I never watched stand-up comedy before, and now I love it so much, and I have my absolute favorites. So here they are. First of all, my favorite comedian of all time, and I watched a lot, it is Sebastian Maniscalco, and the show that I'm recommending is called Aren't You Embarrassed? So he has other stand-up comedies. Another one of them was on Netflix, and they recently took it out. I don't know why. It was also so funny. But on Netflix you can check out Aren't You Embarrassed? He's the funniest guy ever. He doesn't even swear. You know, most stand-up comedy people, they just use swearing. They just swear a lot because they feel like that's what makes it funny. But this guy guy, he doesn't even swear, and he just talks about all these life situations that basically he talks about like ridiculous people and things that he doesn't understand about people, and it's just so funny, like his expressions, the way he talks, everything. You gotta check it out. And then we have Ali Wong, Baby Cobra. So this is an Asian pregnant woman, and she's doing this stand-up, and she just tells it how it is. She's kind of like, she kind of gives like a little like slutty image. I'm very sorry for saying that, because like she's not afraid of it. Like she's not afraid to say like all the terrible things she's done, and she's really funny, and you should totally check it out. And then we have the second best comedian in my opinion, which is Kevin Hart, and the stand-up that I'm recommending is called I'm a Grown Little Man. Now he has a ton, literally a ton of other stand-up comedies on Netflix, and you should check all of them because they're all funny, but I think my favorite from all of those are I'm a Little Grown Man, and I think he's really funny. I don't think I need to say anything about him because you probably already know him. He's just like worldwide famous, so there you go. And lastly, I have John Mulaney, New in Town. He has another show on Netflix that you should also check out, but I think this is my favorite, New in Town, and he's like a white guy, like with a baby face, that you would look at him and you wouldn't really think he's funny, but he turns out to be really funny for my surprise, and he has really funny stories to tell that he been through, and I really think you should check out all of these stand-up comedies if you like to laugh, which I believe you do. So that's all for the TV shows and stand-up, and finally we are going into the movies. And now this is the big part of the list, so let's try to go through this like rather quickly. First of all, this is in no particular order. I think that I have like kind of like animation movies all at the top of the list, but that's because I went through Netflix and whatever I saw first I would just put on the list. And yes, I did go through the whole Netflix to make this list. So first of all, I got Home. Home is an animation movie. It's about this little cute aliens that come to Earth, and now this little alien, which is kind of like the black sheep of the whole alien community, and makes friends with this girl, and then they're like besties, and they're trying to escape from the rest of them. So it's really cute and funny. Then I got Zootopia. Zootopia is a brand new movie that came out last year, but it's quite recent, and I was amazed by how fast it was on Netflix, because usually it takes a long time for movies to get to Netflix. But anyway, Zootopia is about this whole land of animals, and they have jobs, and it's like a whole city of animals, and it's just so funny and so cute, and there's a lot of life lessons that you learn. I mean, you already know them, but it's good to see those things in movies and know that your kids are gonna be influenced by good movies like that will teach them good lessons. And then we have Alice Through the Looking Glass. This is another movie that I was surprised by how fast it got to Netflix. I don't know why, but basically this is the sequel to Alice in Wonderland, and you already know Alice in Wonderland story, so Alice Through the Looking Glass is like the continuation, so it's kind of like the same thing. And then we have The Secret Life of Pets. This is another very recent movie from last year. It is so cute. It's about the life of your pets when you're not there, and it's so funny. And then I got Johnny English Reborn. Now this is the sequel to Johnny English, and I'm pretty sure you know Mr. Bean is like an icon. Is like, you have to know Mr. Bean. So it's the same actor, but this time he's not playing Mr. Bean. He is playing like a spy, but just like Mr. Bean, he messes up a lot. So basically he's a spy who just messes a lot, and that's why it is so funny. Also, this is the sequel, so they don't have the first movie, so maybe make sure to watch the first movie somehow and then watch the second one on Netflix. Then I have Kung Fu Panda 3. I don't think they have the first two movies, and I don't know why Netflix keeps doing this. They just have sequels and they don't have the first ones, and it's kind of like annoying because now you have to go watch the first ones on your own, find them somewhere. So you already know Kung Fu Panda, right? It's an animation movie about, you know, a panda who does kung fu and his other friends, and they're like saving China. And then I have The Angriest Man in Brooklyn. The movie is with Robin Williams and Mila Kunis. I absolutely love her. And basically the movie is about this man. He's angry all the time for some reason, and he goes to the doctor, which is played by her. And then he finds out that he has a brain aneurysm, and then by mistake, because she was having a bad day and he was being an asshole, she tells him that he has 90 minutes to live. And now the guy is just going around Brooklyn, where he lives obviously. He's just going around because he can accept his fate. At first he couldn't accept that he only has 90 minutes to live, but then he uses that time to try to make peace with his family and all the people he knows. Then we have 12 Dates of Christmas. I watched this movie on Christmas last year, and basically it's about this girl that for some reason she keeps experiencing Christmas Eve over and over again. Basically the day keeps repeating over and over, and then she's like in a loop. And then I have The Switch. The Switch is with Jennifer Aniston. I watched this movie so many times for some reason, and somehow I'm not tired of it. So basically the movie is about this woman, Jennifer Aniston, who wants to have a baby, but she has no one in her life, like a man. So she tries to get a sperm donor so she can have the baby. But then there's her best friend, who's always there for her. He's kind of like in the friend zone, and just a lot of things just happen, and what ends up happening is that he ends up switching the sperm donor's sperm with his own, and now you know what's gonna happen with that, and it's really fun. I think you're gonna enjoy it. Then I have The Heartbreak Kid. This movie is with Ben Stiller, and you know he's always funny. Basically he gets married to this girl who seems like the perfect girl, and then on their honeymoon she becomes a nightmare. She starts to reveal her true colors, and she is impossible, and it's really funny. Then I have White Chicks. So White Chicks, I believe, is like a classic now or something. Believe it or not, I only watched this movie like last year, I believe. I don't know why, but basically the movie is about these two FBI agents, and they're black, and then they go undercover as white chicks. So it's very interesting. It's a whole transformation process, and it's just so funny all they go through, and the way that they play white girls is really funny. If you haven't watched it, it's something that you really have to. Then I have Christmas with the Cranks, another Christmas movie that I enjoyed watching last year. Basically there's this couple, and they're finally alone for Christmas. All their kids are busy somewhere else, and they were planning to go on a trip instead of celebrating Christmas at home. But then the whole neighborhood has this whole crazy thing of like the best decorations, and they start like ganging on them, and they get mad at them, and now it's kind of like this couple that just wants to go on a trip for the first time versus the whole neighborhood who doesn't let them because they need to win Christmas or something like that. Then I have Love Actually. This is another Christmas movie. It just happened to be on the list in that order. That's why they're all together like this. Love Actually is actually I didn't mean to do that. That movie is about like 9 different love stories that happen at Christmas, and it's really amazing, you know, to see those kinds of movies where there's so many stories put together. And my dad loves this movie, and I think one of the things about the movie that I like, that makes me like the movie, is that one of the couples in the movie is, there's a British guy and then there's a Portuguese girl, and then he goes to Portugal to get her. So it's kind of like, I feel it, I know, you know, it's kind of like me, what happened to me. Then I have 40 Days and 40 Nights. This movie is about this guy who makes a vow of no sex for 40 days. And one of the things that I was like, while watching the movie, I was thinking to myself, why is everyone, like his friends, people who are not even his friends, like just work people, just everyone around him was so much in this business? Like, what does anyone have to do with whatever he's doing with his own life? Basically, he was really committed to that vow, and then everyone around him was trying to make him break the vow. So yeah. Next up, I have Charlie St. Cloud. This movie is about 2 brothers, and then the little brother dies, and then the big one kind of has to give up on all of his dreams, and then he keeps seeing his little brother, like his spirit or something. I'm only gonna say one more thing about this movie. It's with Zac Efron, and need I say more? And now we're gonna enter the part of the list where the sci-fi interesting, just the more interesting movies are gonna show up right now, so just keep watching. So now we have the movie Ark. This movie was very interesting, and is like the movie that you just keep watching because you have to know what happens at the end. So basically there's this dude who created a machine that creates energy, and that energy created a time loop. So basically he's in a time loop, and he's living the same day over and over again. Now the interesting part also is that he's trapped in a house, and there's this gang who has him trapped, and they want like answers and stuff. So he basically has to go through a whole sort of event, like fighting with those people, like over and over again. And it's very interesting. In the ending, you'll never expect it, so make sure to watch it. Then I have the movie Time Lapse. This is another time machine movie. Basically there's this group of friends who discover a machine that takes a picture a day in the future. So like right now it would take a picture of this exact moment, but tomorrow. So that machine is directly pointed at their window of their house, so it shows themselves. So they just keep using that machine eventually for their own personal gains. So now bad things actually start to happen, and then it's just a big mess at the end. So it's very interesting, so I totally recommend it. Next up, I have the movie Knowing with Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage always has this like super interesting movies. I don't know how. But anyway, so there's this school who does like a time capsule thingy, and then 50 years into the future they open a time capsule, and there's this one girl who just wrote a paper filled with numbers, like she was like possessed or something while she wrote all those numbers. And now this guy who's like a scientist, which is Nicolas Cage, he gets that paper, and he realizes that the paper actually says all the major disasters that happened in the last 50 years. So the thing is, now he finds out that the ultimate disaster that's gonna happen to wipe out like whole humanity is also listed, like the end of times is listed on the paper, and now he's just, you know, trying to sort that out and try to let everyone know and stuff like that. It's a very interesting movie, really, and you really gotta watch it. And now I have The Invasion. This movie is with Nicole Kidman, and basically there's this alien virus going around, and it spreads so quickly and pretty much makes people in a state of REM sleep when they're awake, and they have to turn everyone to their own virus. So they have to spread the virus. Once you have it, it's like the only thing you have to do, the only thing that you strive to do is to spread the virus until everyone has it. So basically Nicole Kidman has a son, and she's just trying to escape from the virus, and it's just so intense. You really have to watch that movie. It's like so intense, and you're like, oh my goodness, you're hooked. Next up I have Train to Busan. And Train to Busan is a Korean movie, and it's so awesome. It's about zombies, and basically there's this bus, and then suddenly someone who got bitten, infected with the zombie virus, got into the train, and now suddenly, you know, when someone has a virus, now they just spread it, and now the whole train is like becoming zombies. And then there's this little group of people who try to survive to the zombies, and oh my god, that movie is so intense and it's so good. You really have to watch it, and there's going to be a second one, so keep on the lookout for that. And now I have the movie called The Giver. Now this is kind of like an odd movie where it's either like you really don't like it, like at first, as soon as you start watching it, you either really don't like it or you just decide to keep watching, and then it turns out to be like an okay movie that's quite interesting in some level. So yeah, so basically the movie is like this little world where people don't really get out. It's like one world, but it's like confined. Basically there's one person who's assigned as like the teacher, and now there's gonna be a successor. Now the teacher is supposed to teach this guy everything there is to know, which includes like the outside world, and that everything they know is not just about what they know. There's more out there. So then this kid tries to, you know, rebel, and then he wants to see more. He doesn't want to stay there and be confined with the rest of the people. So basically that's kind of what the movie is about. Next up I have The Imitation Game. Okay, so this movie is set on like an older time, you know, Hitler kind of times, and basically the Nazis, okay, I realized that I'm not sure how to say this right now. I thought that I knew. So the Nazis, let's just take it as it is. They have this machine called Enigma, and that's how they communicate. It's like a code. So now the British people want, the only way for them to beat the Nazis is for them to decipher Enigma. So it's like this really complicated code, and they try to gather like the most brilliant minds so they can decipher it. And it's really interesting. It's based on a true story, and I was surprised to how I actually enjoyed the movie. Next up I got the movie RV. This is another movie with Robin Williams, and it's funny. It's like a family funny movie. Basically it's kind of like a dysfunctional family, and he rents an RV, and he wants to go on a big vacation with the whole family, but then a lot of things happen in that vacation, and they also meet like another couple, like a family that's weirder than they are, more like seem more dysfunctional than they are. But then, you know, a lot of things happen and it's really funny. There's a lot of funny scenes in that movie and you really should check it out. And finally, the last movie that I have to tell you is called Paradox. So this movie is about a group of scientists that create a time machine and then they send one of their own to test it out. But then that they send that person, I think, an hour in the future. And then when he comes back, he says that they need to shut everything down because they're all gonna die. It's so intense, right? So now they're just like discussing themselves, like some believe, they don't believe it, and now they don't know what to do. It's very interesting. So it turns out that I have a lot of movies about time machines and loops, time loops, and all that stuff. These are all the movies, TV shows, and stand-up comedies that I have to recommend to you. So next time you're bored and you want to go on Netflix to watch something and you're like, I can't find something good to watch, just come back to this video and take some of my recommendations, and I assure you that you're gonna enjoy at least some of them. Like, I'm quite picky, I think, and I really enjoy all of this stuff. So I really hope you enjoy my movie picks, just my entertainment recommendations. And yeah, that is all I have for this video. I hope you enjoy it, and if you did, please give it a like and make sure to subscribe because I will see you next time. Bye bye!